Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center, and today we've got a special treat for you guys. Kind of an early New Year's present. We have got almost the entirety of CRKT's new 2021 lineup here in our hands, and we pulled a selection of them to talk to you today with our friend Ryan Peterson from CRKT themselves. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, David?
Doing good. We're for those some behind the scenes stuff, we're filming this before Christmas, so you know we'll just pretend we had a good Christmas, and we hope you all did out there as well.
Yeah.
But
yes.
Great. Well, we got some really cool stuff here. Thank you for sending these samples out to us. And I kind of put some stuff in order here. You've got some real statement pieces coming out this year.
Yes, we do. You know, every year we like to come out with new innovative models, statement pieces, if you will. And I think we definitely have that. And I want to jump into the first product. I don't want to steal your thunder, but I think this is the statement piece of the assortment this year.
It's not my thunder. This is your show. Take it away.
All right. So this is our CRKT Ritual. This is designed by Alan Foltz. And if you're familiar with Alan Foltz as a designer, he is known for his small compact fixed blades, most notably the Minimalist series. Mm-hmm. And so he wanted to come out with a folding knife that was a statement, something completely different than what he normally does. And he definitely did that this year, don't you think, David?
I should say.
So I will show how this knife works. So also, before I jump into this, the first, I guess, 4 knives we're going to talk about, we have a new assisted opening mechanism for 2021. And so this model, the Ritual, has that assisted opening mechanism. And what's unique about this assisted mechanism is I'll open it. Obviously, extremely snappy and comes out with a nice pop. But it has IKBS in the ball bearings. And then also it has a bias to close. So once when you push it down, it snaps back in place, which is really important for safety purposes. It's
one of those subtleties that makes a big difference. I know there are folks out there that don't like the resistance of an assisted opener when you go to close it. This one kind of gets around that a little bit. You know, you still do have, of course, a little bit on this particular knife at about the 90-degree mark, but you get past that and it sucks right in. It pulls right back into the handle, and you're not having to push it the whole way, which is nice.
Yep. So yeah, then just jumping right into this model. I mean, obviously, just an insane looking piece. We were joking about if you carry this around, you're going to have the most interesting knife in the room, guaranteed. And so this has Sandvik 12C27 blade steel. Also has this really cool resin fiber handle, almost like an ivory color with this bolster, a stainless steel bolster. And so it's just a really good looking model. Obviously extremely different than what Alan normally does. And I think that's what I really appreciate about this model. And I love it. And I know you love it as well.
Yeah, I think it's also, it's very different from what CRKT is known for as well. I was, this morning I was running around the office kind of showing this to folks, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Wait, that's a CRKT? Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I had the biggest smile on my face when I first saw this, and then it even got bigger when I opened it.
That was my answer to someone who said, why? I'm like, why not? It makes you smile, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it really does. So I really, really like this model for this year.
So is that like a polished paper micarta type of material there? Is what it kind of feels like.
Yep. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah,
really
so
classy.
It just looks really, really good. And the contrast with this anodized bolster just looks amazing.
So for the folks out there that are interested in this and any of the knives we have here on the table, actually, these are actually going to be up for pre-order as this video goes up on the Knife Center. So we'll leave the actual pricing for the website there rather than talking about it here on the video, I think, just because MSRPs and street prices vary a little bit. So we won't get into that too much, but all the prices and specs will be at the links below.
Yep. Love it. Yeah,
cool.
So this is a CRKT Ritual by Alan Foltz.
Definitely a statement piece, and yeah, it makes you smile. What more can you say? There you go. I'm really cool. I really like Seeing the Sandvik steel on here as well. I'm a big fan of their, especially the 12Cs and the 14Cs in their series. I think are really excellent materials.
Yep. Yep.
Very nice.
It's pretty awesome.
But that's not the only statement piece here. I'll pick up the next one before you can this time. It's the new Lanny, new Liang Ma for you guys.
Yep. So this is a new for this year. Lian came out with, again, the Lanny. Again, that assisted opening mechanism really jumps out, and it's just really, really amazing. And then as well as what I really like about this model is the matching hardware all the way around to the pocket clip. So just a really good looking model. Before we jumped on this call, David and I went through all of these models, and I remember you went, ooh, when you saw this one. I specifically remember that. So,
it was really nice because this design has been available in some production formats, but at a drastically higher price. So to see that from folks like you, who can execute the more affordable designs out there, I think it's a really good model for you guys to have picked up.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I love Liang's, his lines and his aesthetic, and I think this really, he hit a home run with this model.
Absolutely.
So it's
but yeah, matching really hardware, like you said, I like the pocket clip execution here. Just like a lot of the models you did last year, it's inset with the flat screw heads, so it's real easy in and out of the pocket. Stainless steel handles on here?
So aluminum handles.
Aluminum. Okay, that's why it's so light.
Yep.
But even for that, like that was the first thing I noticed, how light it was. But it's definitely milled out on the inside as well. Well, one, to make room for that torsion bar assist, but also to remove a little bit of weight. This, for as big of a knife as this is going to carry extremely easily.
Yeah, it's about 4 ounces.
Very nice. And what's the steel on this one?
So this is 8CR13 MOV.
All right, right on. Compound grinds, of course, with the kind of straight clip point there. Really, really classy folder. I like it.
Yep, very classy. That's a good word to describe this.
All right, what's next?
All right, next is our particle separation device, also known as P.S.D. This is designed by Jim Hammond. And a fun fact is Jim Hammond was our first ever CRKT knife designer on our roster. So he's known for more of his, tactical fixed blades. And so, again, I think this is kind of a theme with 2021. We have our designers kind of stepping outside the box and doing different and innovative stuff. And I really, really, really like this model. It's an EDC knife, but it kind of has that tactically inspired blade, as you can see here.
For sure.
And then I really like what stuck out to me right out of the gate was the blade to handle ratio.
Me too. I mean, you've got that pivot almost at the as far forward as it can go, and so you really did maximize the amount of blade in that handle. I mean, it's pretty apparent even from photographs. Yep,
absolutely. So again, has the assisted opening mechanism with the IKBS ball bearings in the pivot, and then again, I want to hammer this home. That bias to close is just a game changer.
It is. And what I like here with the flipping action, or the flipper actuation, is kind of interesting too. The flipper tab here is, well, it's right behind that pivot, so it's not sticking way out. But I'm always clumsy at it, but I could do it. I could actually front flipper this with the edge of the ramp right here on the spine side as well.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, the flipper placement is unique, but it's just awesome. I mean, you just can get a nice kind of draw on that. And I think, again, you can carry it. Obviously, this is an EDC model, but just the way the look of it has that tactical DNA, if you will. And then I really like the thumb ramp as well. Fits really well in your hand. The ergonomics of this knife are top notch.
Geometry looks great. You got that nice keen hollow grind. 8CR again on this guy?
So this is 1.4116.
All right.
Steel. Yep.
And is the handle materials here, is this a G10 with a carbon fiber laminate on top, or is this something else?
You got it. You hit the nail on the head. Yep.
All right. Very cool. Deep carry pocket clip, tip up or tip down right side. liner lock, speed, or yeah, assisted opening mechanism. There you go. Very nice, very nice.
Yep, yep. So that is our P.S.D. designed by Jim Hammond.
Reminds me a little bit of the old G.S.D. from the lineup, but very different. Stood for something else.
Yeah. Well, I think this one has some GSD in it too.
It certainly would. Certainly would. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll pick the next guy up. New Vakneus design, the Tueto.
Yes, I absolutely love this model. I'm a huge Jesper fan, and everything I've carried is Pilars for forever, it seems like, and this was the knife I was drawn to. We're not supposed to have favorites. I typically carry one model about every 5 days or so as I'm getting used to the product.
Sure.
This was actually the first one that I picked up and carried. So yeah, again, the name is Tueto. It has an assisted opening mechanism, has this really beautiful G10, and I really like the size of the finger flipper as well. That's something that I'm drawn to, definitely.
Yeah, it's nice and subtle. It kind of follows the line of the top edge of the handle quite nicely. I love the kind of the Puko inspired lines of this one. Yep,
this was designed after a Puko knife.
Well, there you go. Makes sense then.
Yep, and then also the brass backspacer gives it that nice pop. Has that great contrast with the colorway on the scales.
And that's actual brass, not just anodized?
Actual brass.
And it's not too big, so it's not really affecting the balance too much either. I know some folks out there that is a concern, but this still feels nice and light to me.
Yep, very light. About 3.5 ounces, so that's pretty light in my book.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Steel on this one?
So this is 1.4116.
4116 again. All right, right. Deep carry pocket clip. Reversible in this case, but tip up in both cases. Really cool little design. Yeah, for sure. Just, you got that straight back, just a little bit of a drop here out at the tip. Make that a little bit more tip usable. But I love the sweep of the belly there. That's going to be a great little slicer.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Well, I think that's going to lead us very nicely into our next couple of designs. We've got some kind of really hit designs from you guys over the last few years that you've decided to make some kind of new versions of, or some new spins on some of your designs. And we're going to start with another Vakneus.
Yep. So yeah, you did mention we definitely are taking a lot of our top sellers and expanding on those lines. So that's a nice segue into our Pilar III. So we had obviously the original Pilar, then we had the Pilar Large. Now we have the P3 coming out for 2021. We have two different variations. We have one with, let's see, so this is going to be 8CR, and then we have the upgraded version in D2.
Very nice.
And so literally looks exactly the same as far as those two models. However, one has more of a stonewash blade finish with a brass backspacer, and then the other one is just going to have a satin blade finish.
So I've got the D2 one right here, and that stonewash is definitely going to help it for a little bit of extra corrosion resistance. Plus, it just always looks good, especially on a nice durable steel like that as well.
Yep. So obviously has the DNA of the Pilar. Love the finger choil. Fits really well in the hand. A little bit larger than the original. Mm-hmm. I've carried the original off and on for years. And I just really appreciate having a little bit more, handle for my somewhat big hands. But again, I think this is probably more of a little bit EDC friendly model with blade configuration on this. So,
yeah, you've got more of a tip obviously than the Pilar or the Pilar Large. So some folks are definitely going to appreciate that. I really like the blade shape. It's got almost a faster vibe than the other versions out there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good call out. And then has IKBS in the ball bearing, so super smooth to open.
You can even do that middle finger flick, which I'm not always the best at, but works very well for me on this knife.
Yep. And then the show scale is going to be G10 on both models.
Very nice. Plenty of handle length, like you mentioned. Our viewers know I have slightly larger than average hands, and you can see with that choil there on the front, I've got plenty to hold on to right there.
Yep. So it's about 7 inches overall when the knife is out. So when the blade is out, rather. So. And
the blade itself still right under that 3-inch mark. So a lot of folks are definitely going to appreciate that as well.
Yep.
Very cool. All right. This next one, I think, is even bigger news.
Yes. Love it.
I'll let you introduce this one.
Okay. So this, first, I'm going to show the original. So this is our original CEO. This has been extremely successful this year. And we were talking to Richard Rogers, who is the designer, and we said, how do we make the CEO even better? And so what we did is we put a flipper on it.
Yes.
Look at that. And also another call out, just immediately right out of the gate, is the pocket clip is reversible. Also, it's extremely deep carry. If you can see,
yes,
that screws at the butt end of the knife. So
absolutely, I love a pocket clip that's deep carry mounted this way. One, the reversibility is nice, but it really truly is deep carry, and it's the tip up and the lefties that have been left out in their lust for the CEO should be satisfied with that.
Yep, definitely. And then just has some great action. It is not assisted opening. It does not have a torsion bar, but it just flies out because it's on those cage ball bearings, the IKBS cage ball bearings. Blade steel is AUS 8, and just, I mean, it's just an awesome, second iteration to the CEO.
I agree. Yeah, I really like the action. It's the flipper tab's a little bit more of a push rather than a kind of a light switch action, and which I actually tend to appreciate sometimes because you just gotta get your finger right up there and just push it out. It's quite nice.
Yep, I'm glad you did mention that. It definitely, that is how you would open this model. Just the way that the flipper is situated, you just gotta give it a nice little push and it just flies out, rather than maybe a pulling back or, like you said, lighter situation.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it is important to call out so folks know what they're getting. But I think the action itself, I mean, that's always been a high point of the original CEO, and you didn't want to lose that when you go to a flipper, and I don't think you did.
Yep, definitely. So this is our. Sorry.
A couple other things I noticed that I really like. The blade length is actually a tiny bit longer, even though when it's closed up, the handle is just a skosh shorter, so that works out really nicely. And the flat grind is a little bit higher as well, so you're even going to get better cutting geometry with this particular version.
Yep. Great call-outs.
Right on. Very nice, very nice. Glad to see that, but we've got a couple other Richard Rogers designs this year as well, don't we?
Yes, we do. Richard's been busy. Love Richard's designs. They're very sleek, gentleman, tactical, inspired. And this is our Diwali by Richard. So this is going to be, David, don't be upset, but we're calling it a slip joint. And so you can
my pet peeves.
Get into the specifics, but there is no lock. We'll say that. So
this is more akin to the double detent bars. So you have a detent at the open position that's not quite as stiff as some slip joints can be.
Yes, exactly.
Right on.
Yep. So this is just a great price point knife. Looks really, really good. It actually has the same scales as the original CEO. So
which is always a good classy look that kind of it gets you that carbon fiber look without the expense.
Yep, exactly. It looks really good. Blade length is going to be under 2 inches, and also has this nice lanyard hole at the end. You can put on your keychain or keychain fob at the end there. So just a really nice, sleek, small little compact knife.
Nice and deep carry, not so large that it would kind of be precluded from being a keychain knife. It's slightly on the bigger side, but I think in the ballpark.
Yep. And then we can't forget about the bottle opener.
Right. I was just about to ask about
David, it has a bottle opener.
So it's a multi-tool.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's really nice. You can, of course, open it a couple ways. You can front flip, do the Higo no Kami style opening. Let's see. Yeah, I can't really flick it open, but I like the shape of it overall. It's this is going to sound weird. It reminds me a little bit of the Lucas Burnley tuna from last year. It's got a similar kind of elliptical shape to it.
Yeah, just a small tuna, I guess.
Right, little guy.
Little guy. Yeah, and then the weight's going to be under 2 ounces, which obviously is extremely lightweight. And I think you did mention this, but for being so small, it does have a pocket clip.
Right, deep carry too, right side, very nice. And this is just one of the 2 knives from Richard Rogers with this mechanism this year, yes?
Yes, so we have another Richard Rogers Symetry that has the slip joint or the no lock, and so this I think is Richard gentleman tactical folder that looks really classy. Also, I really like the accent screws. It's matching all the way to the pocket clip with the back spacer as well. Just a really, really good looking model from Richard, and I think this is kind of what he does.
Yeah,
he's the master at this. So
it's definitely got a great look. I will agree with you there. I like the pocket clip. It's it's a post type of design rather than just a fully folded clip, which is pretty cool. This looks like it is reversible. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yep,
it's good to hear. Closes up really nicely, and what I found myself liking about this flipper tab really is a flipper tab, but it doesn't really look like any other flipper tab out there. Just sticks straight up, but you can do just a regular flipper with that.
Yep, very unique. Also, it has the IKBS ball bearing, so you just flick it and it pops right open. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever really seen a flipper like this before. So that's obviously really unique, and I really like it. I think it's fun to open, and so it's definitely unique, like I said.
You can call it a top flipper almost.
Yeah, I was referring to it as a top flipper. It is a top flipper, but it also, I mean, the way you can hit it, I guess it's kind of both.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool. Are we 4116 or 8CR on this blade?
This is going to be 8CR.
All right. Very cool. Really classy looking. I definitely agree with you. It's got some really great lines. And I love that especially with something like this where it has no lock, the reversible pocket clip is great. So you can carry this either side, lefty or righty, no problem.
Yep.
Very nice.
Definitely. So that is Symetry.
All right, I know I said that the CEO flipper was probably the biggest news this year, but maybe I spoke too soon. You guys might disagree with me, huh?
Yeah, you mentioned statements at the start of the video. I think this is definitely a statement. So we had the first generation of the field strip that Ken Onion had designed, and the way you would take the knife apart. So I guess backtracking, the field strip mechanism was designed to take your knife apart with no tools and clean it and put it back together. And so we came out with the first iteration, and you would push up on the gate, you'd roll back on the wheel, and the knife would come apart, put it back together, you flip down on the lever, you roll back the wheel. There was a process, right? And there was a few steps that you needed to master. Well, now we have Field Strip Gen 2. And David, there's only really one step. That is to push up on the lever that is on this show scale here. You just seriously push the lever up, and the knife will come apart into 3 pieces, so you can take it out, clean it. Also, the IKBS ball bearings are in the pivot. There's no Teflon washers as well. That was also an upgrade for this year.
Very nice upgrade. I like that this works well, whether the blade's open or closed, actually, too.
Yep, definitely. And then same way you would take the knife apart, you can put it back together. Just in the reverse, you just take the scales, sandwich it over the blade, and then just push down on the lever, and the knife is back in working order. it blew me away the first time I saw this, honestly.
So I guess this is still Ken Onion's baby, I think, yeah?
Yes. So Ken, being the mastermind that he is, he came out with the first field strip. He thought long and hard, went back and forth R&D about how to make it better, and then we're launching this for this year. He loves the field strip mechanism. He would always say that he would take people's knives back in Hawaii and clean them and kind of retune them, and he would see how dirty these knives actually were. Mm-hmm. He goes, what if, I could come up with a way that people can just clean it without having to take, your knife apart, maybe lose a screw or a washer or something like that. And so this is what he came up with. And then also what I really like about these Bona Fides, that is the name of the model, is it looks like a Ken Onion model. Mm-hmm. I love the blade shape. Also has D2 blade steel, aluminum handles, a deep carry pocket clip. And then, David, we also have a different colorway, which I'm a huge, huge fan of.
Are you talking about the green one here?
Yes, the green with the black blade.
I like that one as well. That kind of spear point shape especially is speaking to me.
Yep. So it's until you get it in your hands, you really don't know how easy, simple, and intuitive this is. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
As always, that mechanism aside, the knife on its own is still quite nice. I mean, like you said, IKBS bearings, that's a really nice upgrade. Another subtle flipper tab, kind of like you were talking about earlier. Just enough there, but you don't feel like, or I don't feel like it's missing anything in order to fire that out.
Nope.
And a good texture on that aluminum. It kind of shares that a little bit with that Lanny, I think. It's not a slick aluminum, so you're not gonna lose your grip on this, I don't think.
No, definitely not. I'm glad you called that out. Yeah, it's almost it has this really nice texturing where it does not feel slick at all.
It's almost like a really fine orange peel texture for folks out there that are kind of wondering what this is going to be like. Very nice.
Yep.
And so
that is
right. We've got the Bona Fide, but there are a couple other models, of course, you're introducing this year with that mechanism. They're just not at the table on this table. So for folks who are interested, again, I'll point you to those links down there in the comments. I think there's another Vacnea's design in there and a few others too.
Yep. The only other one that has Gen 2 is another Vox design.
Okay.
So that's the Kata. So that is Jesper's play on the Field Strip Gen 2. That's what's exciting about CRKT. We get to have different designers work on different mechanisms. And so, yeah, David will show you that one as well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. What is next?
All right. Next is our Trask by Eric Oakes. And this has our deadbolt mechanism. So deadbolt is super strong, simple, and safe. How you would, first, how you would open this model has this nice, thumb hole cut out. So once when the model is open, there is 2 lugs that go through the pivot. One goes through the liner, blade and liner. The other one goes through the liner and blade. So it locks up like a bolt. So to break the lock, you would have to shear both of these lugs. And then to close a knife, you just push on the deadbolt that is in the pivot, and the knife will close that way. So this is our only deadbolt. We're for 2021. We're expanding on the line. We're making them a little bit more EDC friendly. We've come out with some larger versions like the linchpin and the seismics that were big, robust, beefy knives. And so this is going to be more, again, an EDC friendly model. Mm-hmm. And if you know Eric Oakes designs, this looks exactly like an Eric Oakes custom.
Yeah. And you can see kind of that DNA, even if folks out there are only familiar with him through CRKT's lineup. The Chehalem from last year, this area around the opening hole looks very similar to that.
Yep. Definitely.
Well, I can definitely speak to the strength of the deadbolt. You guys sent us one of the shocks when they first came out, and man, we were just being dumb with that thing, man. We were throwing it at trees and just being stupid, and it didn't even flinch.
That was a big knife too.
Yeah, not quite as EDC friendly as this.
No, I don't think so. And then again, this has a D2 blade steel as well.
Nice. I think that's a really, I like that, especially on this knife, because even though it has some nice looking touches, you've got that subtle texture on the glass reinforced nylon, the blue pivot collar. It feels though like almost a heavier duty knife. There's plenty of handle length, D2 steel with a blade shape like this. I mean, this is a gentleman's work knife.
Absolutely. Yep.
Very nice. All right. What is next, sir?
All right. Next, we have some M16s. So we have our M16-03 BK and BS. So that is, we have, I guess, two. You have the black version, so we'll talk about this one. This is, again, we're trying to expand on our best sellers. So our M16 is obviously one of our best selling family of knives. And so we had an M16-03 KS, the KS series that we came out with a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And so this is essentially the M16-03 KS, but then we had a bronze scales to make that a little bit different, which I think look really, really good with this black blade. Especially with the black, yeah. I took a look at both of them and was like, all right, which one do we put on camera? The black one. Yep, the black one, it's just, the contrast looks amazing. And then this is 12C27 Sandvik blade steel as well. Nice. So I've carried so many different variations of the M16, from the larger to smaller. I mean, we have 40 plus in our line. Mm-hmm. And I really, really like how sleek and slim this model is. It fits really, really well in my pocket. I was going to comment on that. Yeah, it's just narrow, nice and smooth, but of course you've got the holes in it, which is going to give you a little extra kind of traction points for your fingers. Are these aluminum handles with a bronze coating? What are these? Yep. So actually the handle are stainless steel. Okay. Yep. And then also I wanted to call out the pocket clip. This pocket clip is definitely reinforced. If you take a look at that, this is it's something that I really appreciate. I don't like to have to tighten down my screws in my pocket clip. I want a good beefy pocket clip right out of the gate, and I think this is definitely one of those. So right on. And it's 4-position, of course. So you've got a bunch of different carry methods. Again, I'm loving the Sandvik steel here. I'm a big fan of that. And for folks out there who think a blade shape or a grind like this is just tactical, man, the thing you get from this giant swedge essentially here at the back, like people think of it as like a dagger profile, but it's basically just a giant swedge. That kind of diamond-shaped cross-section as you're moving through materials, especially on a thinner or a narrower blade like this, is just money. Love it. He agrees. I do, absolutely. Very cool. Like I said, I hope we see more Sandvik from you guys in the future. I put that out there into the universe. I like it. All right. Received. All right. What is next, sir? All right. Speaking of another statement, we have we've been expanding on our Provoke family. So that is our ceramics that have the kinematic mechanism, which if you are not familiar, I will show you how this specific ceramic works. Is you push down here with your thumb, the knife will deploy, and then rather than most folding ceramics that will fold back over your fingers, it has a lock here and the knife will fold back up in on itself for safety purposes. Also has a 0 profile pocket clip on the back. And so we came out with the Provoke a couple years ago. Now this is our Provoke Zap color, and we also have a Provoke Orange color. What's different about these models is that it has grivery material. So it's a high impact plastic, almost can be used as a metal replacement. So it really drives down the cost. So I think this color is really fun. It's definitely out there. Also has a really good name. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Kind of that electric green almost. It's almost a highlighter yellow, in fact. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. I've always appreciated the Provoke design in general.
like you said, there is an inherent safety measure since if the lock does fail, it's not closing on your fingers. It's fast. It's one of those things that I tell people, it's not a gimmick, no matter how it looks. Like, it is designed exactly for a purpose, and that is speed and safety, and it does it really well.
Yep. Yeah. Joe Caswell spent years and years and years perfecting this kinematic mechanism. So we owe a lot of credit to Joe to coming out with this amazing mechanism. And like you said, it is not a gimmick. It's the real deal. And I'm really excited about these models because they're going to come in at a price point. It's definitely gonna capture, you know, some of those people that maybe don't want to spend, you know, a lot of money on one of our provokes. This is going to be, you know, right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I know we mentioned at the top that we'd push you to the website to look at pricing, but this is going to come in roughly half of the all metal construction, and that's really nice.
Yes, exactly.
Rivery, like you mentioned, on the chassis as well as the arms here. Are we still with D2 steel on these blades?
So these are going to be 1.4116 on the Zap and the Orange.
So a little more stainless for some folks. That's definitely going to be appreciated.
Yep.
Very, very cool indeed. Is this still going to fit the bolt-around sheath accessory that's available? Do you know?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it should. It's literally you put these side by side. It's the exact same model. It's just we're using this Grivery material for the Zap and the Orange.
Fantastic.
Version.
Very, very cool. All right, now it's the David C. Anderson portion of the interview because we're moving on to fixed blades.
Yes. We're starting off with Biwa, right?
Yes.
All right.
I think my favoriteest of the new bunch.
Oh man, it's good. It's really good. All right, so going back to Alan Foltz, you know, we obviously started out with the Ritual, and that was definitely a departure from what he normally does. This is what Alan is known for, and I think this might be one of my favoriteest from the fixed blades as well. So this is Biwa. It is essentially a bird and trout knife. It is full tang. You have this really, really nice polished G10. And then also what I really appreciate about this model is you can see here next to the tang that kind of stripe of orange on both sides. Just give it a really, really nice elevated look. And also what's amazing about this model is it's 1.6 ounces, David.
Very light indeed.
Yep.
4116 for the steel?
8CR13.
I got like a 50-50 chance these days. Well, I really appreciate a bird and trout. Even if you're not the hunting type and you're not taking it out for game, a knife this size is perfect as a smaller companion to a bigger fixed blade. Makes a great little camp pairing knife, and just any kind of small cuts, which most of the time that's all you're doing more of that anyway than the chopping or the batoning and splitting and all that stuff.
Yep. Also has this really nice jimping on the top, and also on the bottom here as well, David. Yeah. Really fits well in your hand, and it's just man, Alan just did a really, really good job.
I agree. For my slightly larger than average mitts, it's kind of a 3.5 finger grip right there. No finger or forefinger protection, but you do have that little bit of jimping there. At least you get a little bit of texture right there. Even if it's not going to prevent you from sliding forward, it's good because you can feel it. You can kind of index without looking at it, and you know you're right behind the edge. So that's just one of those things you don't think about, but it is going to make a difference.
Yep. So this is Biwa.
Very, very nice indeed. Next, please.
All right. Next is, all right, speaking of innovation and pushing the envelope, our designer TJ Schwartz definitely does that. He tries to think outside the box. He tries to come out with, you know, I guess he doesn't like to be constrained by a knife is 2 scales and a blade. So our new Tailbone is definitely different. So This is it's essentially a fixed blade that you can take hiking, camping, and what's really unique right off the bat is you see this flexible kind of machine chain handle that kind of rolls, and then it's wrapped in this cordage. And so you can carry this on your hip. And so if you bend over or move side to side, it's not going to dig into your love handles. However, when you go to make a cut, most of the pressure is going to be, I guess, up and down. So then the knife actually locks up and turns into a fixed blade, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you were explaining this to me last week, and I was reserving judgment until I held it in person, but I can feel that. Yeah, I mean, definitely you could just say, oh, it's floppy. But I mean, I've talked on this channel plenty of times about, you've got a small fixed blade. You can always add more lanyard to give yourself more grip. That's essentially what this is, but it has, in that sort of spine to edge orientation, it's not going to flex that way, not too much anyway. So you do get kind of a secure feel and a feeling of rigidity when you are going to go through a cut. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, honestly, when you think about these designers and when they're coming up with concepts, to think about this and really have it come to life is really something that I think we can all appreciate. So.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No, that's very cool indeed. And then, of course, in a survival situation, you got a little extra paracord right there, just in case.
Yep.
Very cool. I like the little blade shape. It's got, certainly would make a decent hunting knife, although the profile would, at least. I don't know how I'd feel about getting the kind of the chain mechanism there all bloody and dirty. Just a fine little outdoor utility shape.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep. So this is Tailbone by TJ Schwartz.
Excellent. Now, next up, I got this here USB stick, I think. No, that's not what this is.
Really does look like a USB drive. Again, sticking with TJ and trying to think outside the box. TJ drew inspiration from an iPod Nano and a Sharpie to come out with the Scribe. So here, I'll pop off the cap. You have a small, fixed blade that you really can carry wherever. It's not really threatening. Then you put the cap on and it looks like a USB drive.
It really does.
Yeah. Also, what's really neat about this is you can take the cap and you can put it on the end of the knife, and it pops on there, so it lengthens the handle, so you have a little bit more control when you're cutting, which is kind of a cool feature as well.
It's not bad, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. Again, really a nice little bit of texture from the outside looking in. You've got that, I think you debuted this texture on the M40 last year, is that right?
Yep.
Kind of a similar vibe to the to what we see on the Diwali there, but just another way of kind of getting that carbon fiber look without it being carbon fiber. And especially if you took that pocket clip off, that would be unnoticeable on a keychain.
Definitely. And so that's what, that was obviously by design, coming out with something non-threatening, something that you can carry in the office or carry around, obviously very discreet. If you did want to take the pocket clip off, it would definitely look like some sort of USB or something that you would use for, I don't know, some sort of tech that you have in your house or at work. So it's just a really awesome price point, little fixed blade.
Very cool. I like it a lot.
Me too. TJ's, man, he's just always coming out with cool stuff.
Very nice. Well, I think to wrap up, we've got a couple new minimalists as well this year. Yes. So Alan Foltz is all over this table right now.
He is, and he should be. He's a great designer. So we have, I guess, first of all, we have the Minimalist Cleaver Blackout. So this is very similar, pretty much identical, or it is identical rather, to the Cleaver that we came out with last year. Now we just have the blocked out colorway. So,
And G10 instead of micarta here?
That as well. That is a difference. Yep, this is a G10 handle. So.
Well, and this knife is the perfect illustration of what I mentioned earlier, where a lanyard can increase your grip. This knife has always had that kind of fourth finger retention on that braided lanyard there.
Yep, exactly. And then just a fun cleaver blade, just makes you smile like a lot of our models, but it's just it just makes sense as far as coming out with a different colorway on the cleaver. So.
Absolutely, and it is one of those kind of smile-inducing blades, but man, it's still a useful utility blade. It's not just a gimmick again.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I've carried this thing more days than I can count, and it's also really fun to pull it out when you need to use, your knife, and you're like, hey, I got it, don't worry, and you pull this thing out. So
very cool.
Awesome.
Well, you came out, the original Minimalist Cleaver did come out in 2020, and you had another Minimalist as well, the Minimalist Gears, at the same time, and we're kind of maintaining that parity this year. True.
That is very true. Now we have the Minimalist Bowie Cthulhu. So this you can definitely see that there is some sort of monster on the blade, and so this is
the flying spaghetti monster. I think is what that is.
What's that?
I think that's the flying spaghetti monster on there.
Yeah, or from H.P. Lovecraft's novel. It's a character from one of his novels. So
it's just a shout out to the Pastafarians in the audience.
It can be whatever anybody wants it to be.
But you guys actually, you said you 3D print these graphics onto these blades, if I'm remembering correctly.
You are right. You're right.
Very
and
cool.
we field tested it, and it does not come off. So there's no concern for that at all. And then also what's unique about the sheath and the handle is that it's glow in the dark.
Love it.
Yep.
Well, even without the glow factor, I always love knives with kind of more playful colors, shall we say, because for certain folks out there, that's going to be, a nice little factor that makes something seem, it certainly has a much friendlier or socially friendly vibe than the blacked out Minimalist Cleaver here. So it's good to see stuff like that. I really appreciate that.
Yep, that's true. But yeah, so this is another iteration of our growing Minimalist family, the Minimalist Bowie Cthulhu.
Very, very cool. Well, that's actually, that is not at all the last of CRKT's 2021 lineup, but that's all I have on the table in front of me right now.
A lot of good ones.
Indeed. Ryan, thank you for taking the time to show us this stuff. I'm really excited by it. Thanks for sending us these samples as well. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad you like the new 2021 models, and I'm looking forward to a great year. Us too. Us too. All right, folks, if you're interested in any of these knives, as I mentioned at the top, pre-orders are opening now for everything. So you can follow the links in the description of this video, or head over to KnifeCenter.com yourself and check out the new CRKT stuff there. You'll be able to put your orders in. Make sure you sign up for our Knife Rewards program so you can earn a little free money for your next knives. All that good stuff. Anyway, again, Ryan, thanks so much, and thank you all for watching. It's the new year. Here's to a better 2021 for everyone. Yes. All right. See you later, guys. All right. Thank you.